They say I wanted to be a god. But all I ever wanted was to matter. Do you hear the roar? The endless murmur of a city that devours its sons? That was Rome. My mother, my mistress, my murderer. I was born in the month of my name, July, into a noble line, with nothing but its name left to spend. The Julians once claimed descent from Venus herself, but what use is divine blood in a dying republic? My father died when I was a boy. My uncle Marius was hunted down and killed. My enemies whispered I'd follow him, but I chose defiance. The tyrant Sulla told me to divorce my wife. I refused. He spared my life, but muttered, "In that boy, there are many Mariuses." He was right. There was rebellion in my blood. In Gaul, I became more than a Roman. I became legend. For 10 years, I carved the name Caesar into the bones of Europe. I wrote my own histories with ink and iron. I gave my soldiers land, my people bread, and my enemies fear. I fought not for gold, but for immortality. And they loved me for it. My men would have followed me into Hades itself. They called me Imperator. But power earned on the battlefield does not please the marble mouths of the Senate. While I spilled blood abroad, they plotted behind velvet curtains. They called me a traitor. They called me a threat. And so they gave me a choice. Return home as a private citizen, or march on the city that birthed me. The Rubicon. A narrow river, shallow and cold. But on its banks stood the fate of the world. Alea iacta est. The die is cast. Pompey fled. The Senate scattered like leaves before a storm. They who once ruled with words and pride now cowered behind foreign walls and trembling decrees. They feared what I had become, but I had not changed. They had forgotten what Rome once meant: strength, discipline, vision. I did not seize Rome. I reminded her of who she was. And so I marched, through blood, through loyalty, through fire. I was not a man returning. I was inevitable. And then, Egypt, a land of gold and mystery, where gods walked among men, or so they believed. And there I met her, Cleopatra, queen, ruler of the Nile, child of Isis, dangerously alive in a world full of cowards. She did not kneel. She did not flatter. She looked me in the eye. And for the first time in years, I did not feel alone. She was not Rome. She was something older, something deeper, a riddle carved in stone, wrapped in silk, and holding an asp behind her smile. They call her seductress, a manipulator, but she was more than that. She was my equal, my mirror. We did not just share a bed, we shared ambition. The idea that two worlds, East and West, could be united, not in conquest, but in blood. And so from our fire, a child was born, Caesarion, my son, my heir. The boy with Rome in his bones and Egypt in his eyes, born to rule a world neither of us would live to see. They feared him before he could speak. They erased him before he could reign. The future, strangled in its cradle. What legacy is greater than a child? What empire lasts, if not through blood? I gave the Republic a son, and they gave me a knife.
But I could not stay.
Rome called me back. They gave me 4 triumphs. My name rang from the Alps to Alexandria. Coins bore my face. Months bore my name. They called me dictator, then dictator for life. But with every laurel on my brow, another dagger sharpened in the dark. Power is cold company. You feast alone. You trust no one. Each smile is measured, each whisper a warning. Even those I raised watched me as if I were already dead. Brutus. My Brutus. I pardoned him, honored him, loved him like a son. But he chose the ghost of the Republic over the man who bled for it. He and the others convinced themselves I was a tyrant, that I would crown myself king. They offered me a crown. I refused it. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. Still, they feared what I might become. And so, they decided I must not become anything more at all. The Ides of March. Calpurnia begged me not to go, said she dreamed of my statue bleeding. But I was Caesar, not ruled by omens, not afraid of shadows. I walked into the Senate as a ruler and met my end as a man. 1 blade, then 2, then 23. Steel and betrayal, one after another. And then him.
Dead too, Brutus?
The words weren't anger, they were heartbreak. You too, my son? Then fall, Caesar. They thought my death would save the Republic. It ended it. Civil war returned. Blood in the streets. My heir, Octavian, would become Augustus, the first emperor. Rome would never again be a republic. They traded one Caesar for centuries of them. They declared me a god, the divine Julius. Temples, statues, festivals. I became myth. But I ask you, does it matter? Does marble remember the man, or just the mask? I was not a god. I was a soldier, a lover, a visionary, a fool. They say I wanted to be a god, but gods feel no fear. Gods feel no pain. Gods do not cry out when their friends betray them. I only wanted to save Rome, to shape her future, to matter. But legacy is a shadow, and memory, a battlefield. So judge me if you must. Call me tyrant, call me savior, call me ambitious. But do not call me silent, because long after I fell, you still speak my name. I was Julius Caesar.